G'day YouTube, it's Marty from Music Video Muster. Thanks for being here. Today I want to do a tier list ranking of all of King Crimson's studio albums. So let's do this. Welcome back to Music Video Muster. King Crimson is my favorite band right now. It took me a very long time to get them. I've known about them for many years, but what I heard back then really didn't impress me. And recently I've come to give King Crimson more of a chance. Since you're watching this video, you probably are already a King Crimson fan, but if you are new and you've never heard King Crimson properly before, please give them a chance, be patient, and I promise you that you will become just as addicted to their music as I am. Let's kick off this tier ranking list. We're going to go in chronological order, and there are many albums to cover, so I won't be able to talk about each one in detail, but I would like to give a bit of an overview of each one and my opinion. First up, we have the 1969 debut album, In the Court of the Crimson King, and this one is the 50th anniversary Blu-ray edition with a Dolby Atmos mix by Steven Wilson. I think this is a very good way to listen to the album and to experience it. One of the most famous tracks from it, 20th Century Schizoid Man, is pure proto-metal. If you're a fan of metal, then you'll want to hear this song just to hear how influential this album was and how much it shaped the modern genres of rock and metal that we have today. This album is easily an A tier for me. I know a lot of people would put it in S, but for me it's a solid A tier. And here's an unpopular opinion. Epitaph is not as epic as other people say it is. But I fear tomorrow I'll be crying. Alright, next we have the follow-up to In the Court of the Crimson King, In the Wake of Poseidon. So you can see that the title mirrors the title of the previous album, and in fact even the track list, track by track, it's very similar to the previous album. It's not that original. I know that a lot of people say it's similar to the first album, but it's an improvement. However, for me, there just isn't much on this album that interests me. The best track is Cat Food, which is a cool jazzy rock song. Cat food, cat food, cat food, again! But the rest of it is not that special, so I'm giving it a D tier. The next album to come out was Lizard. It's not really bad, it's pleasant to listen to, and it's some fun, happy, psychedelic jazz fusion. Which, if I'm in the mood, I'll really enjoy it, but it's not something that I can just put on all the time. In fact, one of my favorite parts about this album is the album cover. For me, this album is a solid C tier. The next album in the King Crimson discography is Islands. I really want to love this album, but I just can't. There's nothing really interesting or engaging for me about this album. I'm giving it a D tier. Next on the list, one of my favorite King Crimson albums, Lark's Tongues in Aspic. This is easily an S tier album for me. What's so special about it for me is that it's a pivotal album. It connects both the early and the later King Crimson sound. It's the first album to feature John Wetton on bass and vocals, and it's especially the instrumental tracks on this which really carries the album for me, and that's why I want to give it an S tier ranking. Next on the list we have Starless and Bible Black. This is mostly an improvisational album. It does have some good stuff, like Fracture. I think that's a terrific track, but it's fairly mid, especially the first track. It opens with a song called The Great Deceiver. The music is cool, but the lyrics and the vocal melody is really bad. The shoe shine boy with a gin shop slack. She I think it was a mistake to open with that track because it can color your judgment of the whole album. But overall, I will give this one a C tier. The next album to come out was the third and final and the best album of the John Wetton era, and that's Red. I have the Blu-ray version, and I just love this album. It came out in the early 70s. I can't remember which year exactly, but it is essential listening for any fan of rock or metal because this really shows how much influence King Crimson had on the modern sound of rock and metal. So go and check it out. I'm sure you're going to love it if you haven't already heard it. Now, a lot of people say that the final track, Starless, is like this epic masterpiece. It's cool and it's good, but I do feel that it's generally overrated. Still, I'm giving this album an S tier ranking. King Crimson had a bit of a break. They came back in 1981 with this album called Discipline. It was the first album to feature Tony Levin on bass, and Tony Levin is one of my favorite bass players of all time. I think this is a really strong album. I can put it on and listen to it in almost any mood, but it just is let down by some weaker elements. The ballad called Mate Kudasai is really not a strong track, and the frequent use of spoken word in this album does get a little bit annoying for me. Apart from that though, it does have some really cool experimental elements. It's got different members of the band playing different time signatures at the same time, which would later become a standard thing for King Crimson. So it's a very innovative album. I'd give it a B tier ranking. The second in the trilogy of 80s albums is Beat. It's a nice album. It's really quite poppy in the sense of 80s pop and synth sound. It's got some nice tracks, especially at the beginning, but overall I feel it is the weakest of the 80s albums, and I'm going to give this one a C tier ranking. The next album in the 80s trilogy is Three of a Perfect Pair. This is my favorite of the 80s King Crimson records. I think it does a good job of blending pop and experimental avant-garde music together into a coherent sound. It also has one of my favorite lineups, with of course Robert Fripp on guitar, Bill Bruford on drums, Tony Levin on the bass, and Adrian Belew on guitar and vocals. I do like the Adrian Belew era, and this one is a solid A tier for me. After that, the band went on another hiatus, and they came back in the mid to late 90s with this one, Thrack. I think this is absolutely brilliant. It is the first of a series of 3 more modern, more heavy metal sounding albums, and I just think that this is a wonderful, experimental, innovative album, and I just love it. It's an easy S tier for me. I love how it harks back to the 70s Wetton era of, say, the Red album, but goes further and gets better. My favorite track on this album is Dinosaur. What a great, crazy, funny concept that is. So the next album to come out was The Construction of Light, and I have the reissue called The Reconstruction of Light. This is the one where they replaced the original electronic drums with acoustic drums, and I really love this album. I think it's a strong one. It is modern and heavy, but not as innovative as Thrack. The strongest parts of the album are the improvisational tracks. I would give this one a solid B tier. The last album to mention is King Crimson's most recent to date. It's called The Power to Believe, and this 40th anniversary edition also has some added value. It's got 2 bonus EPs on the DVD disc, which is Level 5 and Happy with What You Have to Be Happy With. I feel like this one is also a really strong album, still not as innovative as Thrak, so I'm going to not give it the S tier, but I really love listening to all the songs on here. You can hear elements of grunge and new metal. So if you're into that kind of thing, I think you'd really like it, and I'm going to give this a solid A tier. Well, that's it guys. Thank you for watching to the end. I hope you liked it. Please let me know in the comments what your favorite King Crimson album is and whether you agree or disagree with my rankings. In the meantime, I hope you can subscribe to my channel, share the video, like, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.